In the endless dark of the 41st millennium, where the Emperor's light flickers against the storm of madness, there lies a terror older than empires, and more insidious than war itself. It is not the clash of armies nor the fire of bolters that breaks a human soul. It is the whisper, the temptation, the shadow that crawls inside the flesh and wears it like a mask. When a daemon of chaos finds its way into mortal skin, the universe does not simply witness corruption, it witnesses the rebirth of horror in a form it once called human. And so we must ask, what truly happens when a Chaos Daemon possesses a man? But before we descend into the abyss, remember, if you wish to walk deeper into the forbidden histories of Warhammer 40K, like, share and subscribe. Together we will pull back the veil on terrors mortals were never meant to see. The beginning is always quiet, not with fire, not with thunder, not with the blaring of war horns. Possession begins with silence, a silence so deep it feels unnatural, as though the galaxy itself has drawn its breath and chosen not to release it. In that silence, a man sits alone. He may be a soldier, weary from battles fought in the Emperor's name. He may be a scholar, fingers stained with ink, searching for truths that the Imperium calls forbidden. He may be no one at all, just a nameless worker on a hive world where life is cheap and dreams are cheaper. It does not matter who he is. What matters is that he is alone and vulnerable. The warp does not strike like a predator in the open. It seeps, it waits, it slides into the cracks of the human spirit like water through stone. A mortal's weakness, their sorrow, their unspoken desires, these are the gates through which the daemonic enters, and every human, no matter how faithful, no matter how disciplined, carries within them a door that can be opened. At first it comes as a thought, a passing flicker in the mind, so subtle it seems one's own. What if things could be different? The words bear no voice, no sound. They slip between natural thoughts, wearing them like masks. A guardsman in the trenches wonders if survival is truly worth the endless slaughter. A widow on a shrine world dreams of her lost husband's face and feels the gnawing ache of grief. A scholar pores over dusty tomes, his eyes burning with a hunger for secrets long buried. And always, in the quiet recesses of their hearts, a shadow leans closer. The first whisper is never loud. It is gentle, tender, like the brush of a hand across the cheek. It does not force, it suggests, it does not command, it tempts, and for the mortal who hears it, the sound feels familiar, comforting. Sometimes it sounds like their own voice. Sometimes it echoes like the voice of someone they love. That is the cruelty of chaos. It does not come as a stranger, but as something longed for, trusted, desired. And when the whisper returns, because it always returns, it no longer feels strange. It feels natural, like a memory one cannot place. It weaves into dreams, bending them into visions painted with impossible colors. It leaks into prayers, twisting words meant for the Emperor into something darker, something hungry. A faithful servant kneels before the shrine and whispers devotion, but part of them wonders if the Emperor hears, or if it is another who listens in the dark. The human soul is strong, yes, but it is also fragile. Faith, duty, love, pain, all of these can be turned, reshaped, exploited. The daemonic knows this. It does not need to break the walls of the soul in a single blow. It only needs a crack, just one, and when that crack is found, the whisper becomes a voice. Imagine the sensation. You walk alone through a hive corridor, its walls sweating rust, its lamps flickering in the stale air. A sound follows you, not footsteps, not machinery, but a word breathed into your ear. Though no one is there, you stop, you turn, nothing, only shadow. Yet the word lingers. The next night it comes again, clearer, sharper. By the third night, you do not fear it, you wait for it, you want to hear it, and so it begins. Some mortals call it madness, some call it haunting, but those who know the truth, those who have studied the warp and felt its pull, understand the whisper is the seed. It is the first corruption, For no daemon enters the body without first conquering the heart. The man who hears the whisper will tell no one. How could he? To speak of it is to invite suspicion, and suspicion in the Imperium is a death sentence. So he carries it in silence, and the silence becomes isolation. And in isolation, the whisper grows louder. The daemon is patient. It does not rush. It waits until the mortal is ready to believe, ready to surrender, ready to invite the voice in, without even realizing the invitation has been given. For every mortal must take the first step themselves. The daemon only guides the way. And so in the forgotten corners of the galaxy, in war zones, in libraries, in hive slums, and noble halls alike, the first whispers of chaos curl around human ears. Each one is a promise, each one is a lie, and each one is the beginning of the end. The whisper does not come every hour, nor every day. Its cruelty lies in unpredictability. Days may pass in silence, lulling the mortal into thinking it was imagination, a trick of exhaustion, a fleeting dream. But then, when the mind is unguarded, when sleep pulls the eyelids heavy, when hunger gnaws at the belly, it returns, sharper, clearer, closer. This is how trust is built. The whisper does not argue with the mortal's disbelief. It allows doubt to bloom, then waters it carefully. It is only your thoughts, the man tells himself, only stress, only fatigue. Yet he waits, secretly, for the voice to come again, because when it speaks, the silence of his life feels less empty, because when it speaks, he feels chosen. The first time the whisper calls him by name, his blood runs cold, not from fear, but from recognition. It is his name spoken with a tenderness he has not heard in years, as though someone loves him, as though someone truly sees him. Mortals are starved of recognition in the galaxy of the 41st millennium. To be acknowledged is to be valued, and what begins as terror becomes intoxicating. It is in these moments that the daemon coils tighter. The whisper shifts from questions to promises. It murmurs of strength to the weak, glory to the forgotten, revenge to the wounded. It tells the guardsman that he could survive, if only he took what was offered. It tells the scholar that forbidden knowledge could be his, if only he turned one more page. It tells the grieving widow that her husband could be seen again, if only she listened longer. The mortal does not yet know it is a lie, or perhaps they know, but they choose not to care. In the harshness of reality, even lies bring comfort, and the warp is nothing if not comforting. It begins to invade the senses. A faint heat at the back of the skull, a shimmer in the corner of vision, gone when one turns to look. The taste of metal on the tongue when the voice is near. Strange coincidences follow. Lights flicker when anger boils. Doors open without touch when desperation peaks. The world itself begins to bend, subtly, unnervingly, around the mortal's presence. At night, dreams twist into vision. Familiar streets collapse into endless corridors, lined with doors that should not exist. Behind each door is a voice calling, singing, pleading. Some doors leak crimson light, others rattle as though something claws at the wood. And always, one door stands open. Beyond it is darkness, endless and deep, and from it the whisper flows like a river. The dreamer wakes with sweat slicking their body, heart hammering, but instead of fear, there is curiosity. What was behind the door? What if I stepped through? The daemon smiled. Though unseen, though unfelt, it knows. The first invitation has already been given. The mortal begins to change in small ways. Their prayers falter, their words stumble when invoking the Emperor. They grow restless, distracted, withdrawn. Food loses its taste. Sleep brings little rest. Yet when the whisper returns, all weariness falls away, replaced with a secret vitality. Friends notice, comrades whisper among themselves. He seems different, but none dare accuse. In a galaxy where the Inquisition's shadow looms, suspicion is a blade that cuts both ways, and so the mortal is left alone in his strangeness, free to drift deeper into the abyss. And the whisper loves solitude. It speaks now not only in words, but in feelings, rage that is not one's own, joy that arrives at strange moments, a sudden shivering hunger for things unspoken. The daemon is not inside the body yet, but already, it has its claws in the soul. By the time the mortal realizes something is wrong, it is too late. The whisper has become a voice, the voice has become a companion, and the companion has become a presence, a shadow that does not leave, a hunger that does not sleep. The man is no longer alone in his own mind, he has been joined, and though he does not yet know it, possession has already begun. It erodes like stone under water, grain by grain, prayer by prayer. The man still kneels at the shrine, still speaks the words drilled into him since childhood, but the devotion no longer burns as it once did. Each syllable feels empty, hollow. The emperor's gaze, once imagined as warm and eternal, now feels distant, indifferent, and when he whispers his doubts into the shadows, it is not the emperor who answers. The voice waits behind his prayers, patient, gentle, insidious. It does not tell him to abandon his faith, not yet. It only asks the questions he already dares not speak aloud. Why has the emperor allowed you to suffer? Why do the righteous starve while the corrupt thrive? Why do your cries go unanswered? These questions strike deep, for they are the questions every mortal carries but is forbidden to utter. The man trembles. He tries to resist, but when his lips falter in prayer, when silence falls heavy, the whisper fills the void with promises. You are not forsaken. You are chosen. You need only listen. The first time he answers softly without thinking, it feels like relief. To speak to the voice is to ease the weight pressing against his chest. It feels like conversation, like confession, like release. But what he does not realize is that every answer is consent. Every word spoken to the darkness is a thread tying his soul tighter to it. Soon the world begins to change in ways that cannot be denied. Statues of saints in the chapel seem to watch him as he passes, their eyes cracked, their mouths curled into secret smiles. Candle flames bend toward him when the voice stirs, as if reaching to touch his face. The air itself grows heavier in his presence, and shadows cling longer than they should. He tells himself these are tricks of the mind, exhaustion, imagination. Yet when he closes his eyes at night, he sees more. The dreams intensify. He no longer wanders corridors of impossible doors. He is led through them. A figure shrouded in darkness takes his hand and guides him forward. Its touch is cold, but not cruel. Its form shifts and bends. At times it wears the face of his mother, at times the smile of his lost friend, at times the visage of something he cannot name, a shape that glows with colors he cannot describe, and all the while it whispers, there is more to life than chains, more than servitude, more than silence. You deserve power, you deserve to be free. He wakes gasping, trembling, but part of him no longer dreads the dream, part of him longs to return. By day he feels it more strongly. Anger comes quickly, boiling just beneath the skin. He snaps at comrades, grows impatient with routine. At times when fury overtakes him, strange things happen. Doors slam without touch, objects rattle. Once a knife quivered across the table and leapt into his hand, though he had not reached for it. He stares at it, horrified, and then exhilarated. The whisper laughs softly, sweetly. See, you are special. You are not weak like the others. In those moments he believes it. He wants to believe it, because for the first time in his life, he feels alive. The dull, grinding monotony of existence in the Imperium fades, replaced with fire. Fire he cannot control. Fire he does not want to control. But in the hidden parts of his soul, he knows something unnatural coils around him. He knows this fire is not his own. He knows, but he does not turn away, because to turn away now would be to return to silence, to weakness, to chains. And so he listens again. He listens as the voice grows bolder, no longer content with whispers, no longer content with comfort. It begins to command. Small things, at first, harmless things. Stand there. Do not speak. Touch the blade. He obeys, thinking it a game, thinking he remains in control. But each act is another step through the open door. Each act is another surrender. And somewhere, unseen in the depths of the warp, the daemon waits, smiling, watching, patient no longer. The day always comes when the whisper stops asking. It begins demanding. The mortal does not notice the change at first. For so long the voice has been gentle, patient, almost loving. It soothed him when he wept, strengthened him when he faltered. But now when it speaks, there is a sharpness beneath the softness, a weight behind the words. Take the blade. He hesitates. The command is clear. His hand trembles above the hilt. In the past, the voice only suggested, hinted, guided. But this is an order. He whispers into the silence, asking why, but the voice does not answer. It only repeats, take the blade, and he obeys. The moment his skin touches the weapon, a shiver runs through his body, not the shiver of fear, but of recognition. It is as though the steel is alive, as though it has been waiting for him all along. His pulse quickens, his eyes burn. For an instant he swears he feels another hand gripping the blade with his cold and strong, guiding his fingers into place. That night, the dreams grow darker. The shadow that once led him gently through endless corridors, now pulls him down into halls of bone and rivers of blood. The faces it wears are no longer familiar, no longer kind. They melt, warp, twist into grotesque masks. Its words are louder now, booming like thunder, vibrating through his skull. He cannot shut them out. He cannot wake. And at last, it does not whisper promises. It declares a truth. You are mine. He wakes screaming, clutching the knife still in his hand. His fingers bleed where the blade has cut him, though he cannot remember drawing it across his skin. He stares at the crimson drops staining the floor, and he feels no horror. Instead, he feels hunger, a hunger, not his own. The days that follow blur into fever. The voice speaks, almost constantly now. At first he resists, shoving his hands over his ears, muttering prayers through cracked lips. But the words pierce through everything. He hears it in the rustle of parchment, in the groan of metal, in the hiss of pipe. When comrades speak to him, their voices bend into its tone. He cannot escape it. And more, he does not want to, because with every word he feels stronger. His wounds close faster. His body moves with unnatural quickness. His eyes see further in the dark. He feels as though he is becoming something more than human. And in a galaxy where humanity is nothing but dust beneath the wheels of war, the thought is intoxicating. But strength is not a gift. It is a hook. The voice begins to laugh. Not cruelly, not yet, but with triumph. For the mortal has already surrendered in all the ways that matter. He has listened. He has answered. He has obeyed. The doors in his dreams are no longer shut. They swing wide, pouring light and shadow into his mind, tearing apart the last defenses of his soul. And through one of those doors, something steps closer. He cannot see it clearly. His eyes burn when he tries to look. Its shape is too vast, too shifting, too wrong for mortal sight. But he feels it. The weight of its presence presses against his chest, fills his lungs, drowns his thoughts. The voice is no longer outside him. It is inside. Its breath is his breath. Its heartbeat pounds with his. The final whisper is not gentle. It is not kind. It is a command that shakes his bones and splits his spirit open. Let me in. And he does, not because he is forced, but because after everything, after every dream, every temptation, every promise, he wants to. He opens the door, and in the moment he does, he ceases to be alone. Something ancient, something hungry, something eternal steps into him. The flesh quivers, the soul screams, and the galaxy bears witness to the first spark of possession. The whisper is no longer a whisper. It has become a voice, a roar, a presence that will never leave. The man is gone. The daemon has begun. Possession does not end when the daemon enters the flesh. That is only the beginning. The true battle begins within. The war for the mind. The mortal still breathes, still blinks, still walks. From the outside he appears whole,
But inside, reality has become a shattered mirror. Every thought he has, every memory he touches, splinters into jagged reflections. He reaches for his name, and finds only echoes. He reaches for his past and feels another's claws closing around it. The daemon does not seize everything at once. It is too cunning, too patient. Instead it sows confusion. It twists the mortal's memories, reshaping them like wet clay. One moment he recalls his mother's face, as soft and kind. The next, her eyes burn with warp fire. He remembers battles he never fought, sins he never committed, words he never spoke. The more he fights to remember, the more the memories bleed together, until he cannot tell what is his, and what is the daemon's invention. And always, the voice is there, no longer a whisper, no longer outside, but an echo inside his skulls. It speaks in his language, then in tongues older than stars, then in voices that sound like his own. It laughs when he prays, it mocks when he curses. Sometimes it speaks truths he could not possibly know, hidden facts about his comrades, secrets of worlds he has never seen. And sometimes it lies weaving falsehoods so vivid, they scar his soul. This is how the daemon breaks the mind, not by violence, but by corrosion. He begins to doubt everything, his name, his purpose, even his own thoughts. Was that my idea? Or it's? The question never leaves. It infects every decision, every action. He hesitates when comrades call his name, unsure if it is real, or a trick. He mistrusts his own reflection, seeing the faint glow in his eyes, the subtle tremor in his hands, and then the dreams return, darker than before. No corridors now, no doors, only a single vast plain, stretching forever under a blood-red sky. The ground pulses like flesh beneath his boots. The air tastes of ash and iron. In the distance, shapes writhe and twist, impossibly large, their forms hidden by the heat of the horizon. And at the center of it all stands the daemon. It no longer hides its shape behind borrowed faces. It stands revealed, an impossible geometry of wings and claws, eyes and mouths, shifting too quickly for his mortal mind to follow. Its presence crushes him to his knee. Its voice booms not from a mouth but from the sky itself. You opened the door. He tries to speak but his mouth fills with blood. He tries to run, but his legs will not move. The daemon leans closer, its many faces folding into one, its breath a furnace that sears his skin. Now you will be remade. He wakes screaming, clawing at his own skin as though trying to rip something out. But nothing comes out, nothing ever does, only the echo of the voice, now so loud he cannot tell if it is still a dream. By day, the confusion worsens. He hears words no one speaks. He sees movements no one makes. His hands act without his command, fingers tracing sigils on walls, lips mouthing prayers he does not understand. Sometimes he wakes to find blood under his nails, though he does not remember hurting anyone. Sometimes he laughs when he means to cry. The daemon is teaching him, shaping him, breaking him, not to destroy him. No, destruction would be mercy. It is breaking him to rebuild him, to make space inside his mind for itself. And yet, a sliver of him still deep within, buried under layers of corruption. The mortal's will claws at the walls of his soul. He remembers who he was, faintly like a candle flickering in a storm. He whispers his name to himself in the dark, as though names alone could hold him together. He clutches at memories, at prayers, at anything, but each time he does, the daemon presses harder, drowning his voice in its laughter. This is the breaking of the mind, not a scream, not a snap, a slow, inevitable unmaking, like ice cracking under weight. The daemon does not merely break, it remakes. It begins with subtle theft, a memory here, a habit there. The man reaches for a childhood memory, his first step, his father's smile, and finds it warped. His father's eyes now glow with unholy fire. His mother's voice now whispers praise, not to the emperor, but to something else, something far older. He tries to push the memory away, to cling to the original, but each time he recalls it, the corruption spreads further, until at last, he no longer remembers which version was real. The daemon delights in this confusion. What are you without your past? It asks, its words rolling through his skull like thunder. A shell, a vessel, a canvas upon which I shall paint. The man tries to resist. He recites catechisms drilled into him as a boy, prayers spoken by soldiers before battle, oaths sworn in the emperor's name, but even as he speaks them, the words twist. The syllables curdle on his tongue. Each holy phrase births a shadowed counterpart, a darker chant that rises unbidden from his throat. The first time it happens, he bites his tongue, until blood flows, desperate to silence himself. But the daemon only laughs. Your faith is mine now. Your prayers are mine. You're mine. The laughter never leaves. It follows him into every corner of thought, echoing louder when he tries to hold on to what he once was. And then the daemon begins to add. New memories slide into place, so vivid he cannot tell if they are full. He recalls battles, fought under a sky of fire, though his feet have never touched that soil. He remembers kneeling before a throne of writhing flesh, though no such throne exists in his world. He sees his hands dripping with blood, not of enemies but of brothers, and feels both horror and ecstasy in equal measure. Slowly, these fabrications intertwine with the truth, weaving into a new identity. He no longer knows if he is a soldier, a scholar, or something else entirely. He begins to call himself by names he has never heard, titles whispered in the dark, and when comrades call his name, it sounds strange, wrong, as if it belongs to someone long dead. At times he tries to fight back. He scratches prayers into the walls, desperate to remind himself of his purpose. He whispers his birth name again and again until his voice cracks, but the daemon twists even these acts. The prayers bleed into runes. The name reshapes itself into a word of power, and the more he clings, the deeper he falls. The breaking of the mind is not loud, it is quiet. It is the erosion of certainty, the decay of self. He cannot tell when the thoughts are his and when they are not. He cannot tell if the voice is inside him or if he is inside the voice. The daemon presses harder. At times, it takes control outright, forcing his lips to move, forcing his hands to write symbols in blood. He watches in horror, as his body betrays him, as his limbs twitch and jerk like a puppet's. And yet, somewhere deep inside he feels a terrible relief, because when the daemon takes control, he no longer has to fight. He no longer has to choose. This relief is the most dangerous surrender of all. One night, in his fevered dreams, the daemon finally speaks plainly. No more disguises, no more borrowed voices. Its true voice is a storm, a chorus of screams and laughter layered into one. It shakes him to his bones. You are not being broken, you are being freed. The chains of flesh, the chains of faith, the chains of self. These are lies. I am truth. I am the song beneath all songs. I will burn away the falsehood of who you were, and from the ashes, you will rise as what you were meant to be. He sobs, torn between terror and longing, for part of him knows the voice speaks only to consume him, and yet another part, deep, desperate, weary, wants to believe, because to surrender means no more struggle, no more pain, only transformation. And so piece by piece, his mind bends, not shattered, not destroyed, bent into a new shape, until he is no longer certain whether he is resisting possession or inviting it. There is a moment in every possession where the struggle stops being a tug of war and becomes a tide. The man feels it, the first time his body moves, without him, not in a twitch or a whisper, but in full, deliberate motion. He wakes one night standing in the chapel, knees deep in melted wax. His hands are bloody. Symbols have been carved into the altar. Symbols he does not recognize, yet they flow from his fingers as naturally as breathing. His voice hums a low chant, a sound older than language, vibrating in his ribs like a second heartbeat. He tries to stop. He tries to scream, but his mouth moves without him. When it ends, he collapses. His knees hit the cold stone. He stares at the altar in horror. The marks glow faintly with a sickly light. His fingers tremble, but inside, beneath the horror, something else stirs. A thrill, a sense of rightness, as if all along, this was what he was meant to do. The daemon seizes on that crack. Why do you resist? It murmurs inside his skull, soft as silk. Every act you fight becomes ecstasy when you surrender. Every doubt turns to power. You could be more than mortal, more than dust. He tries to answer, to shout it down, but his lips betray him. His voice speaks words he did not form, a language not his own. It is as if a door has been opened inside him, and a daemon is pouring through, using his throat as a bridge. Days blur into nights. He loses time. Hours pass unremembered. He wakes in places he does not know, with objects he cannot explain in his hands. He speaks to people who are not there. He laughs at jokes no one tells. His comrades begin to avoid him, eyes wary, whispers trailing behind, but still no one dares report him. In the Imperium, accusation is as deadly as sin itself, and the daemon grows bolder. It takes him in fits at first, seconds of blankness where his body moves without him, then minutes, then hours. Each time it leaves him weaker, his own thoughts thinner, like paper soaked in oil. He feels himself fraying at the edges, dissolving into something vast and alien. When he catches his reflection, he sees changes. His pupils dilate in strange shapes. His skin seems to shimmer under dim light. At times his mouth moves, when he is silent, forming words too fast to hear. Once he catches himself smiling at nothing, a wide, jagged grin he does not remember making. He whispers his own name like a prayer, but the sound grows foreign in his ears. The daemon laughs. That is not your name anymore. That was the name of a slave. Soon you will wear a name of power. One night in his fevered dreams he finds himself standing on the plain again. The daemon towers before him, wings spread wide across the crimson sky. He is no longer crawling. He stands tall, his eyes burning with the same fire as the beast's. Look, it says, and he looks down at his hands. They glow, veins filled with light and shadow. His skin peels away, replaced with something stronger, something shining, something monstrous. You are becoming. He wakes with tears streaming down his face, not from fear, but from longing, because for the first time, he no longer feels weak. He no longer feels forgotten. He feels powerful, and in that longing, in that moment of weakness, the daemon strikes. It does not ask permission this time. It does not whisper. It pushes. His body arches, muscles locking. His mouth opens in a silent scream. The room darkens around him, shadows stretching like claws. He feels the daemon pressing deeper, its presence filling his veins, its will overriding his own. He tries to hold on to a single thought, a single memory, but even that flickers and dies. For a heartbeat he is gone. Only the daemon remains. When he returns, if he returns, he will not be the same. The first time, the daemon wears him fully. It is not in a dream, it is in the waking world. He opens his eyes, and finds himself standing on a battlefield. Not one of the Imperium's wars, but something older, something vast. Corpses stretch to the horizon, twisted shapes that are neither man nor beast. Their faces shift as he looks at them, sometimes strangers, sometimes comrades, sometimes even fragments of his own reflection. His boots sink into blood-soaked earth. The sky above burns with a sun that screams instead of shines. And then he realizes, this is not memory, this is not vision, this is the daemon moving through him, using his flesh as a window to its realm.
His hands twitch, they clench into claws. His voice bellows words he does not know, but each one drips with power, each syllable warping the air around him. He feels energy surge through his veins, hot and cold at once, as if his blood has been replaced with liquid fire and void. The strength is intoxicating, his limbs feel limitless, his breath feels like storm winds. For one dreadful instant, he understands why mortals fall, because it feels good. When he wakes, he is not on a battlefield, he is in the barracks, his comrades staring in horror. The floorboards are blackened, the air smells of iron and smoke. Symbols are burned into the walls, jagged spirals that pulse faintly with residual light. His brothers in arms keep their distance. Their eyes no longer see him as one of them, they see him as something else. Something dangerous. The daemon whispers, triumphant. They fear you. As they should. Fear is respect in its purest form. He tries to protest, but his words stumble. His tongue feels heavy, no longer entirely his. He cannot tell if the thoughts that rise in him belong to himself or to the voice. From then on, the daemon begins to experiment. It seizes him during drills, forcing his limbs into movements that are not his own. Faster, sharper, crueler. He watches in terror as his sword arm cuts in ways he never learned. His blade finding weaknesses in armor as if guided by unseen hands. His superiors praise his instincts. They do not know the truth. At night he dreams of cities burning. He feels himself laughing as fire spreads, even as part of him weeps. When he wakes, the laughter sometimes continues, long after the dream has ended. He tries to resist, but resistance now feels like drowning. His own thoughts are drops of water swallowed by a black ocean. The daemon speaks not as an invader anymore, but as a partner, a twin voice layered over his own. Why struggle? It asks, calm, confident. Every time you fight, I take more. Every time you bend, you gain more. Together, we are stronger. Alone, you are nothing. There are moments where he almost agrees, moments where he wants to give in. Because the daemon shows him things, visions of himself leading armies, worshipped as a demigod, his enemies crushed beneath his feet. He sees himself ascending, shedding his fragile skin for something vast and eternal. The images are seductive. They fill the hollow spaces inside him, but each vision carries a cost. Each glimpse leaves a mark. His body begins to change, subtle at first. His eyes glow faintly in the dark. His voice carries an echo, as if two people speak at once. His shadow no longer matches his movement. Sometimes when he sleeps, the shadow moves while he lies still. The others notice. Whispers spread. A commander considers reporting him, but never does. Fear has taken root, and fear silences more effectively than loyalty. The daemon rejoices. Soon it says, soon you will not just be mine, you will be me, and the world will tremble when we step upon it as one. The man shudders, for deep inside, beneath the terror and the shame, a dangerous truth grows. A part of him wants that. A fingernail darkens and curls at the edge. A vein glows faintly under his wrist when the room goes dark. His breath fogs even when the air is warm. He pulls his sleeve down. He keeps his hands clasped. He does not look too long in the mirror, but the changes do not stop. The daemon has been whispering of this moment for weeks, planting the idea like a seed. The flesh is only a prison. Let me unlock it. Let me carve you into something worthy of the power that fills you. He tries to ignore it. He prays longer. He fasts. He burns incense and speaks the catechisms of the Imperial Creed until his voice cracks. But each ritual feels weaker than the last, as if he is drawing water from a dry well, and the daemon waits. It is patient. It does not rage at his refusal. It smiles. You cannot stop what you are becoming, it murmurs. The cocoon splits when the wings are ready. It begins with his eyes. In the dim glow of a shrine lamp, he sees them flare just for an instant, like molten gold shot through with black. He blinks hard. They are normal again. But when he looks at his reflection later, he notices a faint double pupil, a predator's gaze hidden beneath the human one. Then his skin, the lines of his palms twist, reshaping into patterns like the runes he carves without knowing. His scars shift, crawling across his arms in the night to form symbols he cannot translate. When he wakes, his sheets are damp with sweat, his body trembling as if from fever, but deep inside something in him thrums, a pulse of energy that is not his own. His strength grows. At first subtly, he lifts crates that once strained him. He runs drills faster than men half his age. His reflexes sharpen, his senses heighten. He can smell fear. He can hear the flutter of a bird's wings in the rafters. He can taste iron in the air before blood is spilled, and yet it does not feel entirely like strength. It feels like something crawling under his skin, like a second heartbeat in his chest. Sometimes at night, he feels his bones ache and shift, like branches bending in the wind. He tells himself it is stress, or warp sickness, or the Emperor testing his faith. But in the quiet moments when the daemon's voice rises inside him, he knows the truth. This is not sickness. This is ascension. It shows him visions as it works, soft and shimmering. He sees his flesh peel away like cloth, revealing shining muscle woven with shadow. He sees wings unfurl from his back, claws sprouting from his hands, his voice booming across battlefields like thunder. He sees himself towering above mortals, not as a man, but as an icon, a living banner of the gods. The images both horrify and intoxicate him. He wakes from them drenched in sweat, fingers trembling. Yet each day, his body takes one step closer to those visions. His fingernails harden into talons. His teeth sharpen. His skin takes on a faint iridescence, as if something beneath it is pushing to the surface. His comrades avert their eyes now. Some whisper prayers under their breath when he passes. He sees the fear in their faces and feels a flicker of shame, but also a flicker of pride. He is no longer like them. He is becoming something more. The daemon is gentle now, its voice a velvet knife. Do you feel it? The power under your skin waiting to burst free. You are the chrysalis. I am the fire. Together we will hatch, something the galaxy will never forget. And in the deepest part of himself he feels it too, the sense that his body is not his own anymore, that his flesh is a door swinging open, and something vast is stepping through. The sickness no longer hides in the marrow, it blossoms on the surface. He wakes one morning with his skin burning. His hands clutch his chest, as if his ribs are cracking apart, as if something inside is straining to be born. He stumbles to the mirror in gasp. His flesh ripples like water, muscles shifting beneath the surface, as though worms crawl just under the skin. He claws at himself, desperate to tear it away, but the daemon stops him with a whisper. Do not fight it. This is the shedding of weakness. This is the sculpting of your truth. The pain is unbearable, yet threaded through it is ecstasy. Each convulsion, each snap of bone, carries with it a pulse of rightness. He should be afraid. He should be begging for deliverance. Instead, he finds himself trembling with a hunger he cannot name. The first screams come not from him but from those who see him. His comrades rush into his quarters when the noise begins. They stop dead at the sight. His body twists in unnatural arcs, joints bending too far, fingers lengthening, nails tearing the sheets as they grow into claws. His jaw unhinges, teeth splitting into jagged rows, blood and saliva dripping down his chin. His eyes flare with unholy light, glowing orbs that make the sign of the Aquila shrivel on their lips. Emperor, save us, one whispers, backing toward the door. He sees their fear and something inside him stirs, something that thrills at their horror. A laugh rises in his throat, not his own, guttural and echoing, a sound that fills the chamber like thunder. He clamps his hands over his mouth, but the sound still comes, pouring from him like smoke. The daemon takes its chance. Let me show them what you are. Let me peel away the last pretenses. His spine arches. His back splits open with a wet crack, blood spilling down his sides as ridges form beneath the skin. For a moment, black stumps push outward, as if wings are trying to claw their way free. His comrades draw weapons but do not fire. Fear roots them in place. The transformation halts just as suddenly as it began. He collapses, trembling, his body twitching. The ridges retreat, the claws dull back to nails. His eyes dim, leaving only exhaustion in their wake. He lies on the floor, gasping, while the others stare in silence. Report him, one mutters at last. He's touched, he's cursed, but no one moves. To speak such words aloud is to invite scrutiny upon them all. To accuse is to risk execution, whether the accusation is true or not. And so they do what humans always do when faced with the unthinkable. They turn away.
They pretend it did not happen. They tell themselves it was fever, a trick of the warp sickness. He hears them whispering outside his door for days afterward. He feels their eyes on him during drills, sharp with suspicion, heavy with dread, but no one speaks directly to him. No one dares. He is becoming a ghost among them, not shunned outright, but avoided like a fire too dangerous to approach. The daemon savors the isolation. Do you see how fragile they are? They fear what they do not understand. They fear you, and they are right to fear. You are no longer theirs. You are mine. You are becoming eternal. He wants to argue, but the words die in his throat, because when he remembers the moment, his spine splitting, the wings straining to burst free, he does not feel only horror. He feels longing. The phantom ache of wings not yet born lingers in his shoulder. He feels cheated, that the transformation stopped, and in his dreams it continues. He soars over burning cities on blackened wings. He roars commands to legions of twisted soldiers, who kneel in the ash. He feels the warp singing through every nerve, and when he wakes, his body trembles with desire to make the dream real. The flesh has begun to betray him, but worse than betrayal, it has begun to tempt him. He wakes before dawn, and sits up slowly, every nerve alive with a low hum, a vibration like the warp pressing against his skin. The room feels smaller, the air heavier, even the shadows bend toward him, as if drawn by something inside him. He does not remember falling asleep, he does not remember dreaming, but his mouth tastes of ash and copper, and his hands shake with the memory of claws. His reflection no longer lies. Where a man once stared back, something else now waits. His jawline seems too sharp, as though carved with a blade. The faint glow in his pupils pulses like a heartbeat. His shoulders have broadened unnaturally, the fabric of his tunic stretched and torn across them, and when he tilts his head, for a moment his shadow tilts the other way. The daemon's voice is no longer a whisper, it is a second voice in his throat, a companion walking just behind his thoughts. You are almost ready. You feel it, don't you? The world softening around you, the flesh melting into shape. He does feel it. The ache in his back has become constant now, a dull fire crawling beneath his skin. His fingers tingle with a strength that frightens him. Sometimes he grips objects too hard and they crumble like paper. Sometimes when he closes his eyes, he swears he can hear the blood of others moving, pulsing, calling, and yet, at the center of the horror, there is a strange calm. He no longer flinches at the memories the daemon plants. He no longer recoils from the visions of himself crowned in shadow and flame. In the beginning, he had prayed for the Emperor to rescue him. Now, he wonders if the Emperor has ever heard him at all. He wonders if perhaps this is what he was meant for. The changes accelerate. His skin begins to shimmer faintly, not like light, but like oil slick on water, a living iridescence. Runes creep across his flesh, not carved but grown, curling in alien script over his arms, his chest, his throat, his teeth sharpen visibly now. His nails no longer retract fully, their black tips glinting like obsidian. During a drill, his commander shouts his name. He does not answer. He does not even hear until the man is in his face, shouting again. And when he turns, his eyes flash gold and black at once, and the commander stumbles backward, face pale as if staring at a predator, rather than a soldier. A murmur runs through the ranks. No one dares speak aloud, but he can smell their fear now, sharp and sweet, a scent that fills his lungs like wine. The daemon purrs in his mind. They are prey. They will kneel or they will burn. This is the order of the galaxy. You have always known it. He grips his weapon, until it bends slightly under his fingers. He drops it, breathing hard, terrified of himself. But terror fades quickly, replaced by a rising heat under his skin, a hunger not of the body, but of the soul. At night, his dreams no longer feel like dreams, they feel like rehearsals. He feels the wings sprouting again, but this time they are full, vast and black, feathers like razors. He feels claws closing over the skulls of enemies. He feels the warp roaring through him, a tide that cannot be stopped. And when he wakes, the smell of smoke lingers in the room. He begins to speak in a tongue he does not know. His lips shape sounds that warp the air around them, causing candles to flicker and metal to tremble. Sometimes when he breathes, frost forms on the walls. Other times a faint heat haze dances around him. The line between man and monster is no longer a line. It is a blur, and though a part of him still whispers prayers in the dark, another part, louder now, stronger, leans toward the daemon's voice and thinks, "Yes, more. Finish it. Let me see what I will become." The air itself feels heavy, as though a storm is crouched just above the roof waiting to strike. He sits on the edge of his cot, head in his hands, skin crawling with a fever he cannot sweat out. The daemon has been restless all day, its murmurs swelling into a constant low chant at the back of his mind. He cannot tell if it is praying, laughing, or sharpening a blade. "It is time," it whispers. "Stop fighting the tide. Open yourself and see." He tries to stand but his legs seize. He feels the first snap along his spine, a wet cracking sound like branches splitting. His vision whites out, his breath stops. For a moment, he thinks he is dying, but death does not feel like this. Death does not burn with promise. The daemon surges. A howl tears from his throat, not a scream of pain, but a sound that splits the room, vibrating the walls. His back arches violently, blood streaks his arms as runes flare across his skin, glowing brighter than fire. The air warps around him, bending like heat over stone. His shadow spreads and lengthens, claws and horns sprouting from it, even as his own body begins to mirror the shape. Wings burst from his back, not fully, not yet, but great black silhouettes of smoke and light, unfurling like banners of war. His eyes blaze molten gold streaked with void black, twin suns burning through his skull. His mouth opens, and the daemon speaks through him at last, its voice layered with his, a chorus of screams and honeyed tones that fills the chamber like a cathedral bell. Behold, the vessel breaks, the door opens. His comrades rush in, weapons raised. They stop in the doorway, faces pale. The heat hits them first, like standing before a forge. Then the sight. They fall to their knees, not from reverence but from instinct. The animal terror of prey, facing a predator older than their species. He sees their terror. He feels it run through him, like electricity. For a heartbeat, he stands taller than he ever has, wings stretching wide, claws glinting, his voice echoing the daemon's words without thought. The power is intoxicating. It is not borrowed anymore. It is, but only for an instant. The light flickers. The wings crumble back into smoke. His claws retract, leaving blood under his fingernails. His voice dies in his throat. He collapses to his knees, gasping, sweat and blood mingling on his skin. The daemon withdraws just enough to leave him trembling, hollowed out, desperate. Around him, the barracks is scorched. Symbols are burned into the floor. His comrades cower at the edges of the room, weapons lowered, eyes wide. No one dares move closer. No one dares speak. He looks at his hands, shaking. For a moment, he does not know whether to weep or laugh. The phantom wings still ache at his back, a ghost of weight where nothing is. His heart pounds with a hunger that feels like starvation. The daemon purrs inside him, satisfied. Did you feel it? Did you taste it? This is only the beginning. This is a glimpse of the eternity, waiting for you. Stop crawling. Stand. Become. He presses his palms to the floor, staring at the glowing runes he cannot read. He thinks of the Emperor's prayers he once knew by heart. They are gone now, scattered like ash. All he has left is the voice inside him, promising him everything, and to his horror, he realizes he wants to hear it again, because the moment it spoke through him, he felt alive, not human, not mortal, but alive in a way flesh had never allowed. That realization is more dangerous than any claw, any wing, any whisper, because now the daemon does not have to chase him. Now part of him will walk toward it willingly. Dawn breaks pale and cold, but inside his skull it is still night. The daemon has not slept. It never does. Its voice hums under his thoughts, like a low drumbeat, All morning it has been urging, not whispering. It no longer offers visions. It gives instructions. Words are over. Deeds make truth. Rise. Show me what you have learned. He moves through the camp like a ghost. His comrades shrink from him, eyes averted, hands trembling around their weapons. They whisper his name, but it no longer sounds like his name. He hears new titles in their fear. Heretic, cursed, possessed. The daemon tastes their dread and purrs like a predator circling prey. He still tries to hold on. In the washroom, he grips the edge of the basin until it cracks under his fingers. He whispers prayers he can no longer remember fully, fragments of holy words dissolving into static in his mouth. He begs the Emperor for a sign, a barrier, anything. The only answer is the daemon's laughter. It starts small. He finds himself writing messages in a tongue he cannot read. At first, they are only marks scrawled in the dirt with a fingertip. Later, runes, burned into wood, etched into metal, glowing faintly long after his hands have left them. When questioned, he shrugs. I don't remember. It's true. He does not. But the daemon remembers. These are seeds. It tells him. Runes are roots. Roots. Roots crack stone. Plant them, and the stone will fall. Then come the test. During a drill, his commander berates him, shouting accusations, demanding explanations for his unnatural speed, his unnatural strength. The daemon whispers, strike him. He tries to resist, fists trembling at his sides. The daemon's voice hardens. Strike him. He lifts his eyes. For an instant, they burn with molten gold and black. His commander stumbles back. He feels his arm rise. His fingers curl. His palm flare with a heat like molten iron. He almost strikes. Almost. At the last second he wrenches his hand away and slams it into the wall instead. The stones crack under the blow. Dust rains down. The daemon does not rage. It laughs, low and pleased. Better. You hesitate, but you do not deny. The hunger is there. Next time you will not stop. He flees the training yard, chest heaving. His hands ache. He hides in the chapel, though it feels like a coughing now. The statues staring with blind eyes. He kneels before the altar, but his knees hit scorched stone. The marks he carved weeks ago still glowing faintly. He smells incense, but also iron and smoke. This place cannot hold you. The daemon whispers. You kneel to a corpse. Rise to me. Act. That night he dreams of his commander again. Only this time, he does not hesitate. He feels claws burst from his fingers. Feels his enemy's throat under his hand. Feels the life drain out of him like water. He wakes, with his heart pounding. His breath shallow. His mouth dry with longing. The daemon murmurs like a lover. This is your future. Not as a servant, but as a lord. The galaxy is full of weak men who think they are strong. He sits in the darkness, hands shaking, trying to decide if the dream was only a dream or a memory of what is to come. His reflection in the window smiles when he does not. Outside, the camp sleeps. Inside, the daemon is awake, and for the first time, he feels himself wanting to be awake with it. But this is no storm of wind or water. This is the breath of the warp pressing close, touching reality like fingers against glass. The daemon's voice no longer hides inside him. It unfurls like a banner, vast and clear, each syllable a ripple of hunger. It is time. You have tasted the leash long enough. Break it. Begin. He grips the edge of his cot. His hands no longer tremble. He feels an eerie calm, the way a predator must feel before it springs. He whispers to himself that he still has a choice, that he can still stop. The daemon whispers back. You already chose when you invited me in. You are only finishing what you began. It gives him an order, a simple one. There is a man in the camp, a priest who once blessed his weapons, a man who still prays for him, though his eyes are full of fear now. The daemon calls him a chain, a link to his old life. Cut the chain. Prove yourself. He walks through the sleeping camp. The silence is heavy, broken only by distant engines and the occasional hiss of cooling metal. Every step feels rehearsed, inevitable. He moves like a shadow, but inside he burns. The chapel door stands ajar. The priest is inside, kneeling before the altar, whispering the same prayers he whispered over his cradle years ago. He looks smaller now, fragile, his back curved like an old tree. The flickering candles paint his face with gold. For a heartbeat, the daemon goes quiet. There is only the sound of his own pulse in his ears. He stands in the doorway, staring at the man who once held him as a child, who once anointed him with holy oil. Then the voice returns, softer than before. Do it. Free yourself. He steps forward. The priest looks up. His eyes widen. He whispers his name, the old name, the one he barely remembers now. Please, the priest says. Fight it. You can still. The daemon interrupts, hissing. No mercy. Mercy is a chain. He raises his hand. It glows faintly, veins lit with a dull red light like molten iron beneath skin. His fingers twitch. In his mind, he sees two futures, one where he spares the priest, and the daemon's laughter turns into rage. Another, where he obeys, and something inside him dies, but something else is born. He lowers his hand. The daemon growls. He lowers himself instead, kneeling beside the priest. He places his palm on the altar. The runes carved into the stone weeks ago flare to life, glowing like coals. The candles snuff out. The priest gasps. What have you done? He doesn't know. Not fully. The daemon does. You have marked the threshold. You have made this place ours. A crack opens in the air behind the altar. It is small, no bigger than a coin, but inside it the stars churn like black water. A smell like burned metal fills the chapel. The daemon laughs softly. Yes, not yet blood, but this is better. This is a door. He rises, dizzy, his heartbeat thunder in his ears. The priest crawls back, muttering prayers. He cannot look at him anymore. He turns and leaves, the door swinging shut behind him. Outside, the night feels different. The sky is still red, but now it pulses faintly, as though matching the rhythm of his own heart. He walks back to his quarters, without looking at anyone, his footsteps leaving faint glowing prints in the dust. The daemon whispers again, but now it sounds like approval. The first act is done. The second will be easier. Soon you will not kneel to anyone. He lies down, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. He no longer feels the weight of chains. He feels the weight of wings he cannot yet see. He still walks among his comrades, still eats, still trains, still answers when spoken to, but beneath the surface, something vast moves inside him, and every moment is a struggle not to let it spill into the open. Whispers follow him wherever he goes. Some soldiers avoid him altogether, muttering about his strange glow, the way metal bends slightly under his touch, the way shadows stretch too long around him. Others watch with suspicion, waiting for proof of what they already suspect. He is no longer one of them. He is a stranger wearing their uniform. The
daemon delights in this isolation. They sense what you are becoming. They fear it. Let them. Fear is the first step toward worship. He tries to hold himself apart, tries to silence the voice, but the cracks in his resolve are widening. When he closes his eyes, he sees the altar burning with runes. When he dreams, he feels the door he opened behind it, pulsing like a second heartbeat in the world, and when he wakes, he feels the hunger gnawing deeper. The breaking point comes during a mission. His unit is deployed to cleanse a sector infested with heretics. It should have been simple. Breach, purge, burn the corruption away. But as the flames rise, the daemon stirs restlessly. Look at them. It whispers. They are kin to you now. They bear the same marks, the same gifts. And you slaughter them as if you were still a servant of the corpse god. He hesitates in the middle of battle. Bolter raised. Target sighted. A heretic chants wildly, face painted with crude sigils. The others in his squad open fire, cutting down the cultists in sprays of blood. He doesn't. He only watches. The daemon seizes the moment. Do not deny what you are.
You are closer to them than to the ones beside you. His commander sees his hesitation, shouts his name, orders him to fire. The words cut sharp, full of authority, and for the first time, the order feels alien, like shackles thrown across his shoulders. The daemon growls in his mind, break them. He turns. His bolter is still hot, still loaded. His eyes meet his commander for a heartbeat. He sees not the man who trained him, but a figure made of iron chains and rusted locks. His breath comes heavy, his vision swimming. The daemon roars. Now, his finger tightens on the trigger. The shot rips through the smoke, not at the enemy, but at the man beside him. Armor shatters. The commander collapses, choking, eyes wide with disbelief. The squad erupts in chaos. Shouts accusations, weapons raised, but he is already moving, faster than thought, faster than any human should. His blade sings free of its sheath, carving through a second soldier before they can even react. Screams fill the air. His brothers, his friends, they are no longer that. They are obstacles, chains, voices of a world that tried to deny what he is. Each strike feels like tearing away another link from his old life. Blood spatters his armor, hisses as it touches the faint glow beneath his skin. The daemon howls with joy. Yes, this is the truth. You are not one of them. You are. When the smoke clears, the heretics have scattered, but his squad lies broken. The battlefield is silent, save for the crackle of flames and the distant moans of the dying. He stands alone in the ruins of his allegiance, weapon dripping, breath ragged, and for the first time, he does not feel shame. He feels freedom. The daemon's laughter rolls like thunder inside his skull. The line is crossed. There is no return. The silence does not last. It never does. The vox bursts alive with fractured voices, urgent calls, panicked reports. His squad's death echoes through the commnet, and within minutes, the camp is stirring like a kicked hive.
Floodlights ignite, search beams sweep across the smoking ruins, and alarms scream into the night. He stands amidst the bodies, chest heaving, blood slicking his gauntlets. He knows what comes next. There will be no explanation they will accept, no excuse they will believe. The Imperium does not forgive hesitation, and it never forgets betrayal. He is already marked. The daemon coils around his thoughts like smoke, purring. Do not fear them. Fear is for the dying. You have only begun to live. Figures rush into view. Soldiers he has known for years, faces he once trusted. They freeze at the sight him standing over their commander's corpse, the ground stained with fresh blood. Weapons lift, voices shout accusations, orders, prayers. Stand down, one cries. Drop your weapon now. He does not move, he does not lower his blade. He meets their eyes, and something deep within him surges forward, bursting free. His voice, when he speaks, is not entirely his own. It carries another resonance, deeper, layered. No, the word crashes into the air like thunder. The soldiers flinch. Shadows twist unnaturally, flames gutter and flare. The daemon laughs with him, through him. See how they tremble. You are already beyond them. Bolters bark. Shells scream. Moves faster than thought, faster than any man should. He feels no weight in his body, no hesitation in his limbs. The daemon guides him, bending his flesh, sharpening his instincts. Every strike is precise, brutal, unstoppable. They fall, not because they are weak, but because he is no longer one of them. Still a part of him watches in horror, a fragment of the man he once was clawing desperately at the edges of his mind. He hears himself screaming silently, "Stop, please, stop." But the daemon drowns him out. There is no stopping, only becoming. By the time the gunfire fades, the courtyard is a slaughterhouse. His breaths come ragged, misting in the cold air. He looks down at his hands, claws now, not fingers, bone and metal fused with something unnatural. Blood drips from them like melted wax. For the first time he realizes his body is no longer entirely his own. The Imperium reacts swiftly. Vox traffic crackles with words like traitor, possession, containment. He sees more squads mobilizing, heavy weapons deployed. Searchlights converge, targeting Auspex's ping. They are coming for him, not as a comrade, but as prey to be hunted, burned, erased. The daemon whispers, delighted. Do you see? Their love was always a lie. Their loyalty was always a cage. Now they bear their fangs. Good. Let them. For every enemy you slay, you grow stronger. He staggers into the shadows, fleeing the blaze of light. His mind races. The man inside him still clings to the memory of oaths, of vows sworn, of the Emperor's name whispered in prayer. He wants to fight the voice, to find a way back, but the battlefield behind him is proof there is no way back. And yet, the daemon is not finished. It tempts him with visions, crimson armies marching at his side, banners of fire trailing across the stars, his name spoken not as a curse but as a prayer of worship. All it takes, the voice murmurs, is surrender. Not in part, in whole. He stumbles to a ruined wall, collapsing against it, head in his hands. Around him the camp tightens its noose. Floodlights sweep closer, boots pound the earth, orders barked through the vox. He knows they will not stop until he is ashes. His body trembles, torn between resistance and release. He feels the daemon pressing harder, its claws sinking deeper, its hunger endless. And in that moment, for the first time he wonders not if he can escape, but if he even wants to. The night closes in. The hunt begins. Floodlights sweep across the night, sirens blare. Voices call his name, not with friendship, but with fury. The hunt is relentless, but so is the daemon. Do not flee. It growls inside him. This is not a chase. This is your unveiling. He crashes through a broken wall into the wasteland beyond. The air stinks of promethium and blood. He stumbles, knees buckling, chest heaving. His hands claw at the dirt, leaving glowing trails where his fingers dig. He tries to pray, but the words won't come. The Emperor's name sticks like ash on his tongue. Only the daemon answers. And then it begins. The pain is unlike anything he has ever known. It is not the pain of wounds or fire. It is the pain of being unmade. His bones twist like molten metal, hammered on an invisible anvil. His flesh ripples, stretches, reforms. His veins burn with light, pulsing red and black like veins filled with liquid iron. He collapses onto his back, screaming. The stars above blur, spin, warp. For a moment he sees not the night sky but the endless sea of the warp. Galaxies churning like oil, faces flickering in the darkness, mouths whispering his name. The daemon roars with laughter. Yes, let it break, let it shape. You are not dying, you are becoming. His body convulses, fingers elongate into talons. His spine arches, sprouting ridges that glow faintly as though embers lie beneath his skin. His voice deepens, cracking into two tones at once. His own, and the daemon's echo. The ground trembles as if recoiling from him. He claws at himself, desperate to stop it, to hold on to what he was. No, he rasps, voice fractured. I am still me. You were never only you, the daemon interrupts. You were always a vessel, always a shell waiting to be filled. And now you are full. Memories flash. His childhood prayers, the pride in his commander's eyes, the warmth of comrades' laughter. They shatter like glass, breaking apart until all that remains is dust carried on the daemon's breath. In their place, new visions rise. He sees himself towering over battlefields, wings of shadow unfurling behind him, armies kneeling in the dirt. He sees planets burning in his name, temples built to honor his power. He sees himself not as prey, not as soldier, but as something vast and terrible. The agony peaks. His scream becomes a roar that splits the air, rattling metal and stone. Far away the hunters pause, looking up in fear. They know whatever he was, he is not that anymore. And then just as suddenly, the pain subsides. He lies in the dust, chest heaving, body trembling. Slowly, shakily, he rises. His reflection in a pool of black water stares back, not entirely human. His eyes glow like coals, his skin etched with faint sigils that pulse with every heartbeat. His shadow moves on its own, stretching, twisting, grinning. The daemon whispers, almost tender now. Look at yourself. Do you see the truth? You are not a servant bound in chains. You are a weapon, a godling in flesh. He wants to deny it, to scream that he is still himself. But as he flexes his hands, talons gleaming in the starlight, the denial dies on his lips. The truth is written into his body. Behind him, searchlights pierce the wasteland. The Imperium comes, chanting litanies of fire and purity. He should feel fear. Instead, he feels only hunger. The daemon sighs with satisfaction. Now, let them come. Tonight they will not hunt a man. They will face what you have become. He stands alone in the open, body trembling but no longer weak. His breath fogs the air, heavy and slow. Every exhale drips with heat, faint curls of smoke rising from his lips. His claws gleam, his eyes burn. The daemon hums in delight. Stand tall, let them see. They wanted a traitor to burn. Give them something greater. Give them a god to fear. The first squad emerges from the haze, armored soldiers, faces grim, weapons raised. They spread into formation, bolters locked on him. He hears the familiar click of safeties disengaged, the mechanical breath of rebreathers. These are the brothers he once trusted. Stand down, their sergeant shouts. By the throne, surrender yourself, and face judgment. For a heartbeat, silent. His lips part, and for an instant, he almost says the words they want to hear. I surrender. But the daemon coils tighter around his voice, twisting it into something else. You are too late. The words echo unnaturally. Two voices layered, his own, and the daemon's. The soldiers flinch, fingers tightening on triggers. The world erupts in fire. Bolter shells scream through the night. Streaks of muzzle flash, tearing the dark. He moves, faster than thought, weaving through the storm. The ground erupts around him, dust and stone exploding, but none of it touches him. The daemon guides him, bending space like ripples on water. He closes the distance in heartbeats. His claws slice through ceramite as if it were parchment. A soldier screams, cut down in a spray of blood and spark. Another swings his chain sword, but the blade shatters on impact with the burning runes etched across his arm. The sergeant bellows orders, rallying his men. They fight bravely, unyielding, but bravery means nothing against what he has become. Every strike he lands is final, every motion fueled by something deeper than muscle, deeper than rage. As he tears through them, he feels the daemon's power pouring freely, reshaping him mid-battle. His voice grows deeper, layered with growls. His skin splits and seals, oozing faint light. His spine cracks, lengthening, his silhouette stretching taller, broader. The Imperium has fought daemons before. They know what this is, and still they fight. More squads join, heavy weapons firing. Rockets streak toward him, explosions rocking the ground. For a moment he staggers, flames consuming him, but when the fire clears, he still stands, charred, smoking, but unbroken. His wounds glow with molten light, sealing as quickly as they are made. The daemon roars through him. Yes. Do you see it now? They cannot kill you. You are beyond their reach. Every shot they fire is a hymn to your ascension. And he begins to laugh. It is not joy, not madness, but something deeper. The sound of chains breaking, of old loyalties burning away. His laughter rolls across the battlefield, shaking hearts, freezing blood. Soldiers falter, eyes wide. Some try to stand their ground, whispering prayers through clenched teeth. Others back away, terror breaking through their discipline. But whether they resist or flee, the result is the same. He cuts them down, one by one, until the floodlights shine only on corpses and burning wreckage. When the guns fall silent, the wasteland reeks of smoke and iron. He stands among the dead, body steaming, eyes blazing. His chest heaves, but not with exhaustion, with hunger. He knows now there is no turning back. The Imperium will never see him as a man again. To them, he is already a daemon, and for the first time, he feels no urge to deny it. The daemon whispers, satisfied, tonight, you shed the last of your chains. Soon, even the galaxy will need. The wasteland is silent, littered with corpses and fire.
The floodlights flicker, broken, casting jagged shadows across the ground. He stands alone at the center of the ruin, chest heaving, body trembling, not with weakness, but with a power that will not be contained. The daemon murmurs in triumph, "This is the first throne of your dominion. Every battlefield is a throne if you claim it. Do you feel it? The ground remembers, the air remembers, the blood remembers." And the soil beneath his feet hums with a strange pulse, as if his slaughter has awakened something. The blood soaking the earth glows faintly, curling into patterns that writhe and shift like serpents. In those lines he sees symbols, runes etched, not by his hand, but by his act. They spread outward, stitching into a circle of power, an altar written in death. He looks down at his hands. Once they had trembled with doubt, now they drip with certainty. The daemon does not pull him forward anymore. It walks beside him, its voice steady, confident. He is no longer prey. He is no longer even only a vessel. He is something between man and daemon, and the balance tips with every breath. From the distance, movement, not soldiers this time, survivors, heretics, the ones his squad was sent to burn only hours ago. They creep through the smoke, hesitant, their crude symbols painted in blood across their faces. They had expected to be purged. Instead, they find a figure wreathed in light and shadow, standing triumphant over the corpses of imperial warriors. They drop to their knees. The first word they whisper is not his name, it is a prayer. He stares at them, stunned. Part of him recoils. He is no god, no saint. He was a man, a soldier. He wants to shout at them, to tell them they are wrong, but the daemon's laughter drowns his hesitation. "This is what you were meant for. Do not deny them." A leader is made the moment men kneel. One of the cultists crawls forward, forehead pressed to the dirt. "Master," the man breathes, voice cracked with awe. "We saw you rise from the fire. We saw you break the servants of the false emperor. You are chosen." The word burns in his ears. Chosen. He remembers the priest in the chapel, whispering his name with pity. He remembers his commander, ordering him to submit. He remembers the Imperium branding him traitor, condemning him to fight. And now, in the ruins, strangers kneel and call him chosen. The daemon whispers, softly, like a knife across silk, "This is the truth. They will follow you. They will fight for you. They will kill for you. And through them, your dominion will spread." He does not speak for a long moment. The silence stretches, broken only by the crackle of fire. Then, slowly, he raises his hand, not to bless, not to comfort, but to command. The cultists shiver as if touched by lightning. Their voices rise, chanting his name, turning it into something sharp, something sacred. It is the first time his name has felt like power, instead of weakness. The runes on the ground glow brighter, feeding on the chant, feeding on the blood. A wind stirs, hot and foul, carrying whispers from the warp. The cultists bow lower, trembling with ecstasy and terror. And in that moment, he understands, the daemon is not only inside him, it is around him, through him, flowing like a current. He is its vessel, yes, but also its herald, its general, its mouthpiece in the mortal world. The Imperium had tried to burn him. Instead, they forged him. He looks across the wasteland, across the stars beyond it. His voice, when he speaks, is steady, deeper than before, carrying the weight of something more than human. "This is the beginning," the cultists cry out, voices breaking with fervor. And above, the red-stained sky seems to shudder in agreement. The chanting does not fade. It grows. Every voice becomes a drumbeat, each syllable a strike against the silence of the wasteland. He feels the sound in his bones, vibrating in rhythm with the daemon inside him. But the daemon does not shout. It whispers, "Listen carefully. Dominion is not built only with fear. It is built with hunger, with promise, with vision. Show them what they long for, and they will give you everything." He lowers his gaze to the kneeling cultists. Their clothes are tattered, their weapons little more than rusted blades and scavenged rifles. They are broken, starved, hunted, yet in their eyes burns something fierce, something desperate. Hope. Hope twisted and blackened, but still hope. He speaks slowly, tasting each word like it is not his own. but delivered through him. The Imperium left you in chains. The priests told you to kneel. The soldiers came to kill you, but I stand with you. Gasps ripple through the crowd, faces lift, eyes wide. These words, simple as they are, strike like fire through dry brush. You are not forgotten, you are not weak, you are chosen. As I am chosen, the gods of the warp do not see slaves, they see warriors, they see believers, they see destiny. A cry erupts. A woman throws down her dagger and beats her fists against the dirt in ecstasy. Another man tears at his face with bloodied hands, smearing fresh crimson over his crude symbols. They are unraveling in his presence. Drunk on his voice, the daemon purrs. Pleased, do you see? Words are sharper than any blade. With a sentence, you carve their souls. With a promise, you bind them. But the daemon is not wrong. For the first time in his life, people do not look at him with pity, or suspicion, or fear. They look at him with devotion, and devotion is power. He gestures to the corpses of the Imperial soldiers, sprawled across the ground. Their armor is yours, their weapons are yours. Take them, use them. We will not hide in shadows any longer. The cult surges forward, tearing at the fallen, stripping bolters, luscans, flak armor, grenades. They howl with glee, the tide of scavengers, turning into an army before his eyes, crude, savage, but alive with a hunger that cannot be extinguished. One of them, a young boy with wide, fevered eyes, approaches him, clutching a stolen chain sword. He holds it out, offering it with trembling hands. Master, will you lead us? The question hangs heavy in the smoke-filled air. Once, he would have recoiled. Once, he would have spat in disgust. But now the ground itself seems to lean closer, listening. The daemon's laughter fills his skull. Say it, claim it, step fully into the role you were born for. He takes the chain sword, its teeth grind weakly, sparking as the motor sputters. He lifts it high and the cult roars, the sound carrying into the night like a storm breaking loose. A throne of bodies, a crown of whispers, an army of the lost. The daemon's voice is softer now, almost tender. You are not only possessed, you are reborn. You are a lord of flesh and shadow. This is your dominion, and it has only begun. He feels it too, the truth of the Imperium will call him traitor, heretic, abomination. They will send their finest to hunt him, but he no longer fears their judgment, because judgment is powerless against belief, and these people believe. The fires rise higher, casting monstrous silhouettes across the ruin. In those shadows he sees himself not as he was, but as he is becoming, taller, darker, a shape blurred between man and daemon. The image terrifies him, but it also thrills him. For the first time he smiles, not the smile of a broken man, not the smile of a puppet, but the smile of someone who knows the galaxy will remember his name. And above the smoke, the stars flicker, as though something vast in the warp is watching, waiting, approved. Where once they lay silent and abandoned, now they pulse with life. Fires burn in great pits, casting wild light across walls, scrawled with crude runes of chaos. The air is thick with smoke, sweat and blood. The cult has grown. What was once a handful of broken survivors, now swells into hundreds, drawn by rumor, by fear, by the scent of power. Word spreads faster than any fire. A figure who stood against Imperial soldiers and lived, a man who speaks with the voice of the gods, a lord reborn in flame. They come crawling from cellars, marching from forests, slipping from the cracks of forgotten cities. Each night more arrive, each night they kneel. He watches them from a broken balcony, the chain sword resting at his side. The daemon's whispers a constant hymn in his skull. Below, his followers train, fight, howl prayers to the darkening sky. Children carry blades larger than their arms. Old men sharpen bayonets with trembling hands. Women smear themselves in ash and blood before throwing themselves into frenzied rituals. They call him master. They call him chosen. Some even dare to call him prophet. The title weighs on him. He was once a soldier who obeyed orders, a man who bent under the will of others. Now, every word he speaks bends others to his will. He feels the intoxication of it, the rush of command. But beneath it all, there is fear, not of his followers, but of himself, for his reflection is changing. When he drinks from a broken shard of metal, he sees not the man he once was, but something sharper, crueler. His eyes gleam faintly red, as though lit from within. His skin is etched with veins of black, pulsing with faint light. His voice, deeper, carries an echo even in silence, and sometimes when he breathes, the air shimmers as though the warp itself exhales with him. The daemon whispers, "Do not fear what you are becoming, embrace it. Every change is a gift. Every mark is proof that you are no longer bound by mortal limits." He clenches his fists, veins burning with dark fire. It is a lie, he tells himself, a trick. Yet when he steps onto the balcony and his followers scream his name, when they pound their weapons against the ground in rhythm, when they chant with such fervor that the earth itself seems to tremble, he feels the lie becoming truth. At night, visions consume him. He sees vast armies marching under his banner, stars burning in the sky like candles, snuffed out by his hand. He dreams of thrones carved from bone, of ships wreathed in daemonic fire, of worlds brought to their knees, and always, at the center, his own figure, half man, half shadow, crowned by ruin. One night, a messenger arrives, bloodied, gasping, dragging himself before the cult's fire. He speaks of a neighboring settlement, loyal to the Imperium, preparing to call for aid. Soldiers are gathering, weapons readied. The Imperium knows of him now. The crowd hisses, snarls, hungry for war. All eyes turn to him. He rises slowly, the chain sword in his hand, its broken teeth sparking with faint light. "The Imperium comes," he says, his voice carrying through the ruins like thunder. "They come to burn us, to silence us, to chain us again, but we are not slaves." The cult howls, voices shrill and savage. "We will march," he declares, raising the chain sword high. "We will tear their walls down. We will drink their blood. We will show them that the gods have chosen us." The roar is deafening. Men and women fall to their knees, shaking, weeping, praising him. The air shivers. The ground trembles. The warp itself stirs, and in that instant, he knows there is no turning back. He is not merely possessed. He is not merely a leader. He is a storm gathering strength. A tide that will drown everything in its path. The daemon whispers approval, but he no longer needs its encouragement. He feels the truth in his bones. He has become the dominion. Vox casters scream with orders, their words sharp and merciless. Purge the heretics, burn the apostate, cleanse the taint. From the ruins, his warband gathers, no longer a ragged band of survivors, now a host, armed with stolen rifles, looted armor and the fury of faith. Their chants echo across the fields, a tide of defiance rolling to meet the steel storm of the Imperium. He stands at their front, the chain sword hums in his grip, its broken teeth, alive with sparks and blood. His body is no longer fully his own. Horns press faintly beneath his skin, like roots, seeking to break through stone. His eyes glow faintly, twin embers burning in shadow, and when he breathes, the air shudders, with the weight of something vast inside him. The daemon whispers, soft and sure, "Today you will be tested. Today you will either rise as legend, or fall as nothing. Do you fear it?" He does not answer. Fear is there, yes, but it is swallowed by rage, by conviction, by a truth greater than his own flesh. He is not only a man, he is a vessel, a symbol, a storm, and storms do not fear, they consume. The first shells land. Explosions tear craters through the wasteland, bodies scattering like broken dolls. The warband screams, but their screams are not terror, they are exultation. They throw themselves forward, firing, howling, charging into the storm. He raises his weapon high, "For the gods." The chant ripples outward, "For the gods, for the gods." The clash is brutal. Imperial lass fire burns through the ranks, cutting men and women down like wheat. Bolters roar, shredding bodies into pulp. Yet the cult surges on, heedless, possessed by a frenzy that mocks death itself. They crash against the walls of the settlement, hacking, tearing, biting, spilling blood upon blood. He is in the heart of it. Every strike of his chain sword is thunder. Every scream he unleashes is a hit. The daemon inside him surges, guiding his arm, twisting his body beyond human limits. Bullets ricochet from his flesh, flames lick his skin, but do not consume him. He is fire given form, ruin made flesh. But the Imperium does not falter. Their discipline is iron, their fury unmet. For every soldier he fells, 3 more rise. For every wall breached, another line of defense hardens. And above it all, the banners of the Aquila stand unburned, unbroken. He feels the strain, his body tears, his veins boil, his bones creak under the weight of what he carries. The daemon laughs, a sound both beautiful and terrible. This is the cost of power. Every victory bleeds you, every step forward takes you further from what you were. But is this not worth it? Look at them. They worship you, they die for you, they would burn worlds for you. And he does look. Even as bodies fall, even as blood paints the soil, their eyes remain locked on him, filled, not with despair, but with devotion. Their faith is his strength, their screams are his crown, their deaths are his altar. He knows, in that moment, that he cannot turn back. There is no salvation waiting, no redemption, no quiet ending, only this, the storm, the fire, the endless march of blood. The Imperium calls him a heretic, the cult calls him a savior, the daemon calls him a king. And as he raises his weapon drenched in blood and fire, he begins to believe all three. The battlefield is a furnace, smoke thickens until the sun itself is blotted out, leaving only fire and shadow. Screams rise like a choir, last fire cuts the air in bright red streaks, and the ground is a slurry of mud and blood. He fights at the center of it all, the daemon's strength, pouring through him like a river. Every swing of his chainsword carves a path, every roar shakes the hearts of men. Soldiers scatter before him, but never for long. The Imperium does not retreat, they reform, tighten ranks, and pour their fury back upon him. Bolter shells strike his chest, tearing through flesh, but where wounds should bloom only black fire seeps, hissing against the air. His blood is no longer red, it is shadow, thick and slow, steaming as it falls. The sight terrifies even his own followers, but it does not weaken their devotion. They scream louder, more frenzied, more willing to die in his name. The daemon's voice rises above the storm. You feel it, don't you? You are more than flesh now. You are legend. You are terror. Let go. Give yourself fully to me, and nothing will stand against us. He snarls, striking down another soldier, chainsword grinding through armor and bone. He knows the truth in those words. The power is there, waiting, but he also feels the weight of it. The abyss yawning wider with each heartbeat. To surrender fully would mean losing the last fragments of the man he once was. Yet what is left of that man? His name is no longer his own. His reflection is a stranger. His purpose is bound to a god he cannot see, a voice that will never leave him. Is he not already lost? The Imperium presses harder. A squad of stormtroopers advances, their carapace armor gleaming through smoke, their hell guns tearing holes through the cultists. His followers fall in droves, bodies collapsing into heaps. Still they cry his name, even as they burn, even as their flesh chars and peels from their bones. Something inside him breaks, a cry escapes his throat, not entirely his, not entirely human. The daemon roars with him, their voices entwined into a single shattering note. The air warps, reality bends, a shockwave bursts outward, flinging soldiers aside, tearing the ground into jagged fissures. The cult exults, shrieking with adoration, but the Imperials only steel their resolve. From the smoke emerges a priest of the ecclesiarchy, clad in scorched robes, wielding a gilded chainsword and a relic. His voice cuts through the chaos like a blade. Heretic, you are no savior. You are nothing but a beast in chains. The Emperor's light will burn you out. The words strike him harder than any blade. For a heartbeat he sees himself reflected in the priest's eyes. Not a leader, not a prophet, but a hollow shell stuffed with shadow.
The daemon laughs cruelly. Do not listen. He would have seen you burn at the pyre. He would have watched your body turn to ash with no pity. Only I gave you life. Only I gave you power. Show him what that power means. The priest raises his relic high. Its light burns, searing even from a distance. His flesh smolders where it touches him, his veins thrumming with rebellion. The daemon howls in fury, thrashing within his bones. He grips his chainsword, torn between the voice that gave him strength and the flicker of something buried deep. The man who once longed to be more than a weapon, more than a vessel. The battlefield seems to still, caught in that breathless moment. His warband waits. The Imperium braces. The daemon hungers. And he knows whatever he chooses next will decide not just the battle but the fate of his soul. The priest's relic burns like a star. Its light tears through the haze, cutting shadows to ribbons. Every step he takes forward presses against the daemon like a weight. Every word of his prayer a hammer blow upon the soul. In the Emperor's name, abomination, the priest roars, his voice ragged but unyielding. You will fall. You will be unmade. The cult hisses and snarls from the edges, their frenzy stalling under the weight of the relic's glow. Even their chants falter. They see their master, their prophet, recoiling under the searing radiance. For the first time, doubt flickers in their eyes. The daemon shrieks within him, do not yield, strike him down, rip the heart from his chest and drink it. You are beyond his petty symbols, beyond his dead god's light. But the relic's light cuts deep, it stings his flesh. Yes, but worse, it sears something inside, something fragile, something that still remembers what it was to be human. The soldier who once stood in imperial ranks, the man who once believed in honor, in loyalty, in the promise of something greater. He staggers, chainsword heavy in his hands. Smoke pours from his skin where the relic's glow touches him. The daemon pushes harder, its voice raw with fury. Give me full dominion. Stop resisting. With me unleashed, I will tear him apart. Together we will scatter the Imperium like dust. The priest sees his hesitation. His voice sharpens, filled with fire. You are not chosen. You are consumed. A slave wearing borrowed power. Look at yourself. What is left of the man you once were? The words bite deeper than any blade. His followers scream denial, spitting curses at the priest, but he feels it, the truth buried within. He is not free. He is not chosen. He is chained to a whisper, every step dragging him closer to something he no longer recognizes. And yet, what else remains? If he casts aside the daemon, what is he? A broken man, a condemned heretic, a corpse waiting for fire. The battlefield quakes. His body trembles as two forces claw at him, the priest's light searing, the daemon's hunger tearing. His vision splits, one eye burning with red flame, the other seeing the battlefield as it once was. Soldiers fighting, blood spilled, orders obeyed. The man and the monster pulling him in opposite directions. The priest raises his relic higher, its light flaring. You still have a choice, he cries. One act of defiance, one moment of will. Deny the daemon, and you will be free. The daemon howls, its fury like a storm. Lies. If you cast me out, you will die. You will vanish into nothing, forgotten, erased. The galaxy will never remember your name. But with me you will be eternal. The stars will kneel, the gods will bless you. Do not throw away immortality for the lie of peace. The chainsword vibrates in his grip. He stares at it, at the cracked teeth clogged with blood, at the weapon that has become a symbol of his dominion. It feels both impossibly heavy and weightless, a choice made solid in his hand. All around him, the battle waits. His cult breathes in ragged terror. The Imperials steel themselves. The priest's voice rings out again, steady as stone. Choose. The daemon roars within. The priest's light blazes. His own heart pounds like a drum of war. And in the silence between, he realizes the truth. There is no victory without sacrifice. But what sacrifice will he make? Himself, or his soul? The moment stretches, infinite, the galaxy itself seeming to lean in to watch. The relic's light burns hotter, brighter, searing every nerve, every memory, every trace of the man he once was. The daemon screams, 1,000 voices in a single roar, clawing at his mind, twisting, tearing, demanding surrender. Choose. The priest bellows, voice like hammer against steel. Free yourself. Cast away the daemon, and live if you still can. He staggers, chain sword trembling in his grip. His body is no longer his own. Horns press against his skull. Veins burn black and red. Eyes blaze with unnatural fire. The daemon thrums through him like molten metal, promising dominion, power and worship across the stars. He feels the pull of both worlds, the promise of godlike power, and the faint whisper of humanity, fragile and fleeting, urging him to resist. The battle around him fades. His followers and the Imperium soldiers blur into shadows. Only the priest, the relic, and the daemon remain. The world narrows to a single point of choice. The daemon hisses in triumph. Do not hesitate. Take what is yours. All will kneel. All will burn. With me you are eternal. The priest counters, steady as stone. Eternal, or enslaved, power without choice is death. Freedom is worth any suffering. Deny the daemon, and you are yourself again. And that is the life he fears. He sways. The chain sword is heavy in his hand. Flames lick his armor. Light flares in his veins. Memories of his old comrades flicker. Their trust, their laughter, their belief in him. The blood of the innocent he spilled. The cries of the damned. Each one pulls at the thin tether of his soul. The daemon claws deeper, demanding obedience, promising conquest, whispering of stars kneeling, galaxies ablaze, his name carved into eternity. And then, he sees the priest's eyes, unwavering, filled with conviction, not hatred, not fear, only a mirror of what he might yet be, if he dare a breath, a single heartbeat. He tightens his grip on the chain sword, raising it high. The daemon screams, wild and furious, twisting his mind, writhing for dominance. The relic flares brighter, and he chooses, not fully human, not fully daemon, but something in between. The chain sword arcs in a single, shattering motion. The blade strikes the relic, sparks flying, light cracking like glass. The priest cries out, but his words are swallowed by the roar of power unleashed. The daemon thrashes, claws sinking deeper into his mind, demanding submission, but he does not yield. He channels it, not as master, not as servant, but as a conduit. A single controlled torrent of daemonic energy bursts forth, not to consume, but to scatter. Light and shadow collide, tearing through the battlefield, scorching earth, flinging soldiers and cultists alike to the ground. The relic smolders, cracking under the fury. The priest is thrown back, shielded only by divine intervention, but alive. The daemon howls, furious, wounded, restrained, its voice echoing in the void between mind and flesh. He stands alone, half human, half daemon, bloodied and breathing, veins glowing, eyes aflame, not fully possessed, not fully free, but stronger than either state alone. He feels the cost of power, the sacrifice of what he once was, and he feels control. The battlefield lies in ruin. His warband, scattered and broken, rises slowly, kneeling, unsure of what to call him now. Enemy soldiers watch from the wreckage, whispers of fear and awe mixing in the smoke. The daemon does not vanish. It remains, tethered, restrained, a storm within, no longer a master but an ally chained by will. He has ascended, yes, but not as a pawn, not as a weapon. He has become something entirely new, a bridge between worlds, a living testament to choice and power, the first of a kind, feared by mortals, worshipped by the damned, and destined to shape the galaxy in ways yet unseen. The priest rises cautiously, voice low. You survive. But remember this, power always has a price. He nods. The chain sword hums, the glow in his veins pulsing with restrained fury. I know, and I am ready to pay it on my terms. Above him, the sky swirls, red and black, a mirror of his own soul. Below, the battlefield waits. The galaxy will never forget this night. And for the first time he smiles.